When Walter, my son, was born 45 years ago, his prospects were so limited now that it's even hard to describe. Nobody really thought that he could have any kind of a life at all. He has Down syndrome. We were advised universally to place him in an institution and not really to hope for him to have anything in life that parents would normally want their children to have. So for his whole lifetime, having refused to take that advice, his father and I have spent his whole lifetime involved in setting up systems, programs, getting services, getting something done so that Walter can have a life. And ironically, as I look back on the 45 years now, I see that even wanting for him the same kinds of things that any parent wants for any child, some of what we did, in fact, caused us to set limits. Our expectations set limits. What we had been told by experts set limits. And Walter shattered every kind of expectation. We were told that he would never be able to take care of his basic needs. Well, he learned to do that. We were told he would never learn to read and write. He learned to do that. And as he grew up in our family, he pretty much did what all of our other children did. As he came to be an adult, the whole issue of what he would do after school was on our minds. And at that time, our idea, and this I'm speaking like all parents, our idea was some kind of thing we thought of as a sheltered workshop. Again, a kind of segregated thing. But it was work. It had some good things about it, but it was a terribly, terribly limiting model. It was based on a really ridiculous assumption that boring, repetitive work, which none of us would want to do, I wouldn't want to do, would somehow provide a lifetime of reward for Walter because he's mentally retarded. Well, it didn't seem silly at the time. But he has taught me as he has gone on into his adult life, and Walter doesn't speak much. He doesn't announce his feelings. But a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, it began to be very clear that the day work he was doing was boring him to tears. And with Walter, as somebody very wise once said to me, his behavior is his language. Well, his behavior was that he didn't want to come to work anymore. He started doing things that that young children in school do. He would claim he felt sick. He would claim that, anything to stay home. This is very uncharacteristic of him. All his life he's been quite eager to get out and go do things. And I realized that I just had to be honest about it. What he was being asked to do was more than he could stand. It wasn't challenging. It wasn't interesting. He didn't have any sense of productivity or reward. And so a program which seemed excellent 10, 15 years ago, all of a sudden was very limiting. So when WineBev started, we were one of the first families through the door looking for a program that let him go beyond those limits, those arbitrary limits that were just a function of history, that programs in the past were set up that way, and that he could come to a program that did not limit him, and he could have a challenge, that he could be part of work, that he could understand its purpose, what it was, that there was a product he could understand. I'm talking about the difference between packing some things in a box that come in one way, go out another way, and there's a process. This is a different thing, say, from shredding paper or breaking down boxes, which are some of the jobs that he had in the past. It seems to be that he understands what he's doing and why he's doing it, and so he's very much happier. So there's an enormous difference in his behavior in the last, he's been well over a year because we really started when the program started. He's very enthusiastic. He's eager to go. He lives in supported living. The people there say that he's up and dressed and ready and waiting for them to come for him. He's very happy about what he does. I've been here several times to see him. He comes over, says hello, and is very eager to get back to work, and seems to say, all his behavior indicates that this is a really perfect setting for him, and he seems very, very much happier than he's been in some years about that aspect of his life.